They thought he was just the old man sweeping the parking lot. Until the night he walked into the top floor of the Ravenhole Tower and shut down the entire boardroom, with a flash drive and a name no one dared speak for a decade. People pass by janitors all the time. Not out of cruelty, just out of habit. That's how most people treated Harold. Every evening, just past sunset, he'd wheel his faded cart across the lot of Halcyon Technologies, a billion-dollar cybersecurity firm nestled in the heart of Seattle. His broom swished across the asphalt with the kind of precision you'd expect from a man painting a mural. Most folks never looked at him. Some called him Pops or Old Man, ignoring the polished name badge clipped to his chest. H. Granger. They discussed IPOs and offshore accounts 2 feet away while Harold scrubbed oil stains from concrete. A few pitied him. They whispered that life must have been cruel. But Harold didn't react. He swept. He watched. And most importantly, he remembered. He moved with rhythm. Parking lot first. Front doors next. Then the garage elevators. Always in that order. And when the tech execs worked late, which they often did, they'd joke like he was invisible. One night, a junior developer tripped on his mop bucket, cursed, then sneered, "Clean up your mess, Gramps." Harold didn't flinch. He simply nodded and moved the bucket. What that developer didn't know was that Harold had watched him for weeks. Watched him bypass protocols, download sensitive data, and reroute files to a ghost server tagged Echo Room. Harold had a memory like wet cement. Whatever landed in it stayed forever. And he'd been collecting footprints for years. Back in the 80s, Harold wasn't sweeping floors. He was designing security systems for the Pentagon. Back when code was tape reels and terminals blinked like Morse code in the dark. He'd vanished after a massive breach at the NSA, a breach some whispered was orchestrated from the inside. Harold's name disappeared from government records. His colleagues scattered, fired, or retired. But Harold didn't die. He watched. He learned. And when Halcyon Technologies started swallowing up smaller firms like a digital beast, when their CEO Marcus Velt called it necessary consolidation, Harold knew what that meant. Secrets were being buried. Halcyon had a habit of destroying things they couldn't control. That included people. 20 years earlier, Harold's daughter, Lena Granger, had been one of Halcyon's brightest data scientists. She uncovered a covert project, Project Null Stream, designed to backdoor global communication channels under the guise of anti-terror surveillance. She brought it to HR. 3 days later, she was found dead in a hotel room. Official cause: overdose. But Lena didn't drink. And she sure as hell didn't use drugs. Harold buried her in a quiet grave in Tacoma and disappeared. Until now. He took a job as the night cleaner. Applied under a pseudonym. Never mentioned his past. Used a P.O. box and an untraceable bank account. His first month he swept. Second month, he installed a keylogger using a screwdriver and a rag. By the third month, he had access to every internal system at Halcyon. They never checked the janitor's cart. He wasn't there for revenge. He was there for justice. Late one Thursday, Harold received a message on his burner phone. Just for words. Null Stream going live. Monday. That was it. The alarm bell. By Friday, he had what he needed. A master list of every board member's involvement. Offshore accounts, bribery payments, digital trails. All zipped in an encrypted file named Lena. Then came Monday. The boardroom glowed with glass and steel, 30 floors above the city. Marcus Velt was mid-speech, outlining the new Global Integration Initiative, his voice slick as oil. The executives clapped. Drinks clinked. And then, the door opened. Harold stepped inside. No mop. No cart. Just a flash drive in his hand and a look that didn't blink. Security reached for him, but one of the board members, a silver-haired woman with a trembling jaw, whispered, "Wait. I know him." Marcus squinted. "What is this? Who the hell?" Harold placed the flash drive on the polished table. "You built your empire on lies," he said, voice steady. "Now you'll answer to truth." The screen behind Marcus blinked. Files began to open, folder after folder, each labeled with damning words: Null Stream logs, Kill order memo, Lena Granger autopsy, altered. A silence dropped so thick it strangled the air. One board member stood up and left. Another began frantically typing. Marcus reached to yank the screen cable, but the monitor had already switched, broadcasting directly to the SEC, Department of Justice, and 3 major news outlets. "You won't get away with this," Marcus snarled. Harold finally smiled. "I already did." And then he turned and walked out. Same slow, even pace, down the elevator, past the lobby security, and into the Seattle fog. By sunrise, Halcyon stock had plummeted. Arrests were made. And a quiet press release announced the formation of the Granger Foundation for Ethical Tech. No one ever saw Harold again. But in a dim-lit parking garage, there's still an old broom leaning against the wall, waiting.